Hi, I'm Madonna from New Leaf Natural Therapies. Since I've been throwing out a whole bunch of blogs about the Congress last weekend, I wanted to mention a few things. That ACEs study, the Adverse Childhood Events study that shows that once we have a trauma in our childhood, whether or not it is abuse, whether it's starvation like during the Second World War, whether or not it's trauma during the pregnancy or birthing process, or whether it's something to do with parents being unavailable to us emotionally, whatever the trauma is that happens in life, this ACEs study shows that there's a whole bunch of ramifications long-term health-wise. Now, that sounds like it's a done deal, and of course you hear people all the time on the TV when something bad happens to them, they go, I'm never going to be able to forget this. And that's true if people don't deal with it. Now, I'm not really talking about something like counselling or psychotherapy, although that's incredibly beneficial to be able to chat about it. I'm talking about our processes like universal consciousness with Rob, and the DNA balancing healing processes with Georgia, and the survival patterns that Georgia and I do here at New Leaf. So particularly the universal consciousness, because it's a 2-hour guided meditation where you're in control of where the meditation goes. It can help you to find those big triggers or the big traumas that have really held you into your health or disease pattern throughout your life. So, and we've had amazing success with some of our clients, people who have suffered anxiety, stress, depression, obesity, addictions, all sorts of things, and people wanting to delve into past life connections that are really holding us into a negative health place. Because once again, what these studies show is that, so because they found it in humans so much, then they started doing study in mice and rats, and they found that once we traumatize the rats and mice, their DNA has been changed genetically for things like anxiety, stress, depression for up to 7 generations. So we're not talking something that's a small thing. When there's a trauma in our world, when there's a trauma in our family, then that can really affect people for many generations. And funnily enough, what I find and what Georgia finds with kinesiology is that that's really true. Once we start backtracking through the DNA balancing that Georgia does and through the survival patterning that I do, is that, and they're two quite very different processes. You know, it's like people almost, when they're trying to deal with some old stuff, need to oscillate between the different processes, the universal consciousness, the DNA balancing, and the survival stuff, because each one brings up and releases different parts of our past. Because of the way the processes are developed, they allow different parts of the brain with different memories to be accessed. So that's sort of, so as you see the blogs, and I'm talking, or you see my BayFM chats about how genes are affected by trauma, this is what I'm talking about, and these are the sort of things you can do. So it's not like, hey, I had a trauma, my life is going to be no good. It's like, hey, I've had a trauma, let's deal with it and get back on track. Hope you have a fabulous day.